Hello, and welcome to today's webinar on the Honduras auto market. My name is Kelly Holloway. I'm with the U.S. Commercial Service, part of the U.S. Department of Commerce, International Trade Administration, and we're very excited to be partnering with the Auto Care Association. You'll hear more about that partnership in just a few minutes, but let me show you the agenda for today's call. We have a lot to pack into about 30 or 40 minutes or so. We're going to cover the Latin America market broadly, and speaking to that, we'll have Mike Calvert, who is the Senior Commercial Officer who heads our office in Honduras and supports U.S. businesses looking to expand into that market. Before he launches into Honduras specifically, Angela Chang will, from the Auto Care Association, is going to again talk about why Latin America, why they're focused on helping their membership and the U.S. business community expand there. And then we'll move deeper into the automotive aftermarket specifically, and Rosana Lobo, who's a senior commercial specialist at the embassy, will speak to that. We'll hear a testimonial, a local story, the perspective from Juan Andoni, who is a general manager with a business in Honduras, a distributor there. And then after the culmination of all this, our hope is that you'll better understand the market, know if it's a good place for you to pursue exporting, to expand your exports, and then talk to you a bit about a trade mission that the Auto Care Association is organizing with the support of the Department of Commerce and our team at the embassy to help you meet the right players to make the right contacts and expand your business there. So just real quick, in case you're not familiar with the U.S. Commercial Service, in the next slide, we are the trade promotion arm of the Department of Commerce. We have offices all around the United States, more than 100, filled with local commercial specialists that work with you to develop your strategic market plans, to find partners, and a whole host of programs to make your business grow through exports. You can find us at export.gov, a great deal of information, as well as your local contacts. So hang on to that URL, put a bookmark there, export.gov. I guarantee it will be useful to you. So, an interesting fact as we start this conversation is to know that the auto parts sector continues to be one of the largest contributors to the total U.S. export base. Last year alone, we exported more than $81 billion in auto parts worldwide. So with that as the base for our conversation, let me turn it over to Angela.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar today. My name is Angela Chang from the International Affairs Department at the Auto Care Association. For those of you who are not familiar with us, I'd like to give a brief background on who we are. We're a trade association based outside of Washington, D.C. in Bethesda, Maryland. The association has nearly 3,000 member companies, and we represent the entire automotive aftermarket supply chain, including manufacturers, distributors, retail shops, retailers, and other service providers. Here you'll see some of the programs and resources we provide to our membership. Today we'll talk a little bit more about our international growth and business development opportunities. One area that we are becoming increasingly active is helping our members identify business opportunities and international partners in the global marketplace. Last year, we received an Export Promotion Award from the Department of Commerce to help increase U.S. exports to automotive parts and services. In 2016, we organized 2 successful trade missions to Guatemala and Peru. Many of our participating companies have reported sales or are very optimistic in developing business relationships with the leads they are pursuing. As you can see, more trade missions later. So why the focus on Latin America? The Latin American market has come up consistently as a target market with great opportunities for growth. More than half of all U.S. Free Trade Agreement partners are in Latin America, and we'll talk about more of FTA benefits later. 40% of U.S. exports already go to Latin America, which means there is a record of success. Industries are maturing and diversifying in Latin America. becoming more and more similar to how U.S.'s business is conducted in the U.S. There's a high level of used car sales and used American vehicle imports. The increasing aging vehicle population also makes it a great market for aftermarket products. Our geographic proximity leads to significantly shorter lead times, giving us a competitive advantage over our Asian and European competitors. So FTA benefits, what are the benefits for working with a free trade agreement partner? The U.S. has signed several free trade agreement partners with Latin American countries. They are excellent targets for export growth for different reasons. Most auto parts are currently entering these markets tariff-free. FTAs also reduce non-tariff barriers and regulations that restrict trade. There is strong protection for investments and property, and customs procedures are harmonized to reduce the burdens created by unnecessary processes and procedures. There are also established procedures in place for resolving legal disputes. This is especially beneficial when doing business in a foreign marketplace that has a different language, different legal system, and business customs. And now we'll hear from Mike Calvert of the U.S. Senior Commercial Officer of the U.S. Embassy in Honduras.
All right, good afternoon and good morning to those of you that may be dialing in from the West Coast in the U.S. Thank you so much for your interest today in exploring the Honduran market. I'm hopeful in my presentation today that I'll be able to outline some of the emerging trends and opportunities that we've been seeing here on the ground in Honduras. Now, I'm based in Tegucigalpa, where the U.S. Embassy is in the capital of Honduras, but as I'll go through my presentation, there's actually several different key business hubs in Honduras that you want to familiarize yourself with. Let's go ahead and proceed to the next slide. So here's a great visual that I always like to start off in my presentations, because one of the first questions I hear from U.S. companies is, Mike, what's the export potential of Central America? Why are we even focusing on this? Everyone's talking about Brazil or India or China or somewhere else. And oftentimes what happens is U.S. companies miss big opportunities right here in Central America. Now, why is that? As a whole in Central America, because of close proximity to the United States, the FTA benefits, close familiarity with U.S. brands and products, we represent the lion's share of exports to Central America. So I think there's a natural preference or inclination towards our products and services. And when you look compared to some other markets as well, Central America is actually a bigger export potential than Chile. It's right around the same age as India, and these numbers are a little stale from 2015. But Brazil, whose economy has recently encountered a number of challenges recently, I'm sure that number is significantly decreased. So I hope during today's presentation, you're thinking about, Honduras as a great potential launching pad for you, perhaps into Central America, where you could be able to carve out part of this market space for yourself and your products and services. Let's go ahead to the next slide. Okay, so as my colleagues previously mentioned, a huge advantage is because of the CAFTA-DR free trade agreement, where more than 95% of goods are able to enter duty and tariff-free. That is a huge asset for U.S. companies, especially when you compare them to other products overseas. It makes you a little bit more price competitive with some of those other ones. Interesting as a quick anecdote, I will say in my time here in Honduras, I have heard from several Honduran importers about concerns about going with the cheaper Asian products as well, because now they're factoring some of the life cycle costs, whether they have to purchase a product that maybe a little bit more than some of the Asian competitors, but it's a better quality product and it's going to last a little bit longer. And so this is a trend I've heard from a lot of different Honduran companies wanting to partner with the right U.S. firms as well, because they want that quality assurance from their products. Let me talk about some of the other trade statistics that we're seeing right now. Now, for Honduras itself, over the past 5 years, the country's been averaging about 3.5% GDP growth. and I believe in 2018 that's going to go up to about 3.6. So we're seeing a lot of positive trends right now on the growth. The U.S. In particular, currently our bilateral trade between the U.S. and Honduras is around $9.4 billion annually, with obviously room and scope to be able to expand that. And the U.S. is the largest source of FDI in the Honduras. I think last year was around $1.2 billion. Now, within Honduras, we're also seeing some positive steps towards reform, towards opening up the economy further. We've seen this reflected in, for example, the World Bank's Doing Business report, where we've been seeing some progress made by the government of Honduras, and even by some of our own calculators that the U.S. government does through the Millennium Challenge Corporation and other interested groups as well, to kind of track, you know, how healthy is the business climate here, how easy is it to do business. We've seen a lot of positive trends toward that. And as I mentioned before, we've noticed Honduran importers enjoy that close proximity to the U.S. Many of them have family in the United States, or they've studied there themselves. So there's a close familiarity with our name brands and products in the U.S. Let's go ahead to the next slide. Okay, here's just a few more stats for you on the market in Honduras. As I mentioned, there's two key business hubs in the country, which is kind of unique compared to the rest of Central America, where most of the businesses are clustered on the capital. Here in Tegucigalpa, we've got a very robust business center, but then also up north in a secondary city, San Pedro Sula, which has, I think, around 1.4 million people as well, is a secondary business hub. And you'll see up there a lot of the maquilas, textile firms, machinery type firms as well are based up there, and they've got close proximity to the Port of Cortez, which is one of the largest ports in Central America and is a main conduit. Oftentimes we hear U.S. companies, even when they're looking to do business in Guatemala or elsewhere in the region, you know, the main entry point for them will be through the Port of Cortez. And I do want to add as well that, you know, Spanish is the language here in Honduras, but there is a large bilingual population, especially in the business community. For those of you that haven't traveled to Honduras before, I think you'll be surprised that a lot of your contacts here locally will be fluent in both English and Spanish. Let's go ahead to the next slide. Okay, here's a quick snapshot of what some of the hottest markets are for us right now in Honduras for U.S. exporters. Front and center, you'll see the automotive aftermarket has been a big success for U.S. exporters here, and there's definitely more opportunities for growth. And you'll see kind of a blend between both manufacturing and services. What are some of the other hot sectors as well? Let's continue in the slide. Thank you. Okay, so recently we've seen a big injection of capital into different infrastructure projects in Honduras. One of the big ones we've been tracking is some of the investment in the highway corridors connecting the country, particularly from San Pedro Sula to Tegucigalpa, kind of a north-south highway linking both the industrial hubs of the country, and then also along the coastline, kind of a tourism route that goes along the coastline. So with that, obviously there's going to be opportunities for future expansions. I do want to add though that the highways have been a positive note for the country, but there are challenges with the remaining road system in the country, which does cause wear and tear on some of the vehicles that are owned and operated here. And then of course you can see some of the other big projects in the air and marine ports as well that they've been working on. In the interest of time, I'm going to keep moving ahead to the next slide to highlight some of the other big priorities right now for the government of Honduras, and I'll explain why these are important for you. First up, for the U.S. government, Honduras is a strategic and critical partner for us. In Washington, D.C., we have an alliance with the Northern Triangle, or Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, called the Alliance for Prosperity, where we are injecting quite a bit of money into the country to support its further economic development, for training programs as well, to continue that trajectory of positive growth that we've witnessed over the past few years. I think for this current year, we're looking around $750 million that the U.S. government will be injecting into Honduras to help stimulate further growth in key strategic sectors. And then, as an idea of what some of these strategic sectors are, the government of Honduras has launched its own plan to kind of outline what its key sectors for growth are going to be. And you'll see them on there as well, everything from the agro industry to business services like call centers, BPOs as well, and then also textiles and tourism. Now, obviously, a lot of these will have direct linkage to the automotive sector as well. As we're promoting tourism, hopefully more people on the road exploring the country and many of its wonderful sites to visit as well. Of course, linking some of these different manufacturing hubs throughout the country and throughout the region, which leads me to my next point that I think is an important factor to highlight for you is the customs union negotiations going on right now between Honduras and Guatemala. As I mentioned before, you've got the port of Cortez, which is a main artery or entry point for U.S. goods into the region. Once the customs union is hopefully finalized later this year with Guatemala, that's going to open up other opportunities for U.S. exporters to be able to bring in their goods throughout the region. I will also add that El Salvador has expressed interest in this customs union as well. So a lot of potential over the next few years on expanding some of the trade within the region and dropping some of those tariffs and other barriers that could be impediments. Let's go ahead to the next slide. Okay, let's talk about some of the challenges and opportunities that you may see here. Now, with customs, we've actually, it's kind of a tale of two cities on this one. I would say as of several months ago, there were a few delays that were being experienced by U.S. Importers actually getting their products through customs and into the country to their importers. Since then, the government has recognized that this has huge ramifications for their economy, and they focused a lot of energy and resources on modernizing their customs procedures, simplifying them, and we've seen a huge turnaround in the past couple of months, where now many cargo containers are back on regular schedules coming into the country. And of course, as the U.S. government, we're looking to help bolster those efforts as well, so that way your products can more easily come into the country as well. There have been concerns with transparency, security as well. This is a great opportunity for you to leverage the U.S. Commercial Service if you're encountering any problems. Just as a quick anecdote, we've had issues in the past of U.S. exporters when their products are here arriving in Honduras. For whatever reason, maybe there was a misunderstanding on the customs paperwork where the rules were misinterpreted, perhaps on the rules of origin or what have you under CAFTA. And so we actually have a close working relationship with those customs officials, and we can actually intervene on your behalf to help clarify if there is a misunderstanding as well. And as I've mentioned, we're seeing continued growth in Honduras, as well as a lot of foreign investment, not just from the U.S., but we're also seeing a lot of other investors come in from Europe, from Spain in particular, Taiwan, and a number of others. So a lot of positive momentum that we're seeing right now in Honduras. Let's go ahead to the last slide. Now, I know my time is limited to be able to give you an overview of the Honduran market, but hopefully that's a snapshot to get you started. As a great resource, I always encourage U.S. companies to please read our country commercial guide. This is a free market intelligence report that we put out on an annual basis. You can go to our website, export.gov. There's a tab you can click on market intelligence. You can look up Honduras or any country worldwide, and you'll find all kinds of interesting information that can be broken down specifically by sector or more broadly on, let's say, for example, business etiquette in Honduras, just useful tips that you want to familiarize yourself with. With that being said, I think let's get a little bit more granular on the details, and let's talk more specifically about the automotive sector. And so I'm going to hand over the baton to my colleague, Rosana Lobo, who's our senior commercial specialist here in Honduras. She has over 20 years experience working with U.S. companies for the embassy and knows the automotive sector like the back of her hands. So I'll hand it off to Rosana to walk us through her presentation.
Thank you, Mike, and good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to start by providing a general overview of the behavior of the vehicle population in terms of the numbers of vehicles registered. According to official statistics, the vehicle population has experienced a sustained growth in recent years, with 1.4 million registered in 2015 compared to the previous year. There's approximately 1 vehicle per 6 people in Honduras. Official data for 2016 is not available yet, but industry sources estimate a 10% increase, which means approximately 141,000 more units by year-end of 2016. Next, please. So this chart, you can view vehicles, the vehicle population by category. The largest percentage is led by motorcycles, almost 500,000 units. This particular category has experienced a growth of around 96% in the last 5 years compared to the second largest one, which are pickups and jeeps category, which experienced a 3% during the same period. The rest of the chart, the other 19%, is distributed among SUVs, followed by trucks, buses, heavy vehicles. Next. So in this chart, you can see the trend utilized by different vehicles. Gasoline has, in terms of fuel type, gasoline has a greater level of consumption with 68% of the total vehicle population, followed by diesel with 14.5% of the total. Thanks. Next. Overall, the outlook for automotive aftermarket products looks positive. The total auto parts imports in 2016 were over 500 million. The total auto parts exports from the U.S. in 2016 were accounted for 71.8 million. Due to price strategy, Asian countries have a large market share, and this is a market that is highly dependent on imports. There's no local production. There are more than 200 retailers of automotive parts in Honduras who buy directly from overseas or through local distributors. There are major mechanical auto repair industry segments include service stations, specialty repair shops, auto parts stores, vehicle dealers, and independent garages. In recent years, with the elimination of import tariffs based on engine size, American-made vehicles have also have a stronger share of the market. Next, please. Overall, there's a wide range of automotive aftermarket products that offer good sales opportunities in the local market, as the ones in the list shown. The top 10 U.S. auto parts exports to Honduras, according to the U.S. Department of Commerce for 2016, included parts and accessories for vehicles, oil or fuel filters, new radio tires, radio telephones for installation in motor vehicles, hydraulic brake fluids, parts of trailers and semi-trailers, batteries, bumpers and parts, and spark ignition engines. Next. So an aging car population in need of constant repairs continues to fuel demand in Honduras. The average car population is at least 15 years old. The number of motorized vehicles is predicted to double in the next 5 years, and distances traveled should also increase due to an accelerated urban expansion. There's also strong replacement demand due to road infrastructure conditions, although there have been significant improvements with different government initiatives. Many primary and secondary roads continue to be in very poor conditions. In addition, Honduras is one of the most mountainous country in Central America, so the terrain or topography can prove very challenging for drivers and not easy on the cars. Of course, with the Central American Free Trade Agreement, there's preferential treatment and absence of tariff barriers for U.S. exporters. There's also a growing consumer awareness over the importance of scheduled servicing and preventive maintenance. that's also influencing the market. There's a regulation on hazardous gas emissions of automotive vehicles aimed at reducing the increasing air pollution levels generated by tailpipe emissions. And it should also fuel demand for specialty services and equipment. However, implementation of this regulation has been really slow. Another important end user segment are the passenger transportation fleets, which are buses of very low operational quality with elevated replacement needs. There are very few import restrictions, with the exception of a prohibition of used vehicles older than 10 years old and 13 years for buses, with the exception of classic collectible cars. Next, please. As Mike mentioned, Honduras is currently in the process of restructuring and modernizing its customs procedures, and it is vital that U.S. exporters pay very close attention to documentary risks, making sure that all documents are carefully completed in order to avoid delays or heavy fines when clearing goods through customs. That's why it's very important for you to keep in mind that U.S. products manufactured in the U.S. Qualify for preferential free trade agreement treatment. And we encourage you to visit expert.gov, the FTA tariff tool that incorporates all products classified within all 97 chapters of the harmonized system and includes information on product-specific rules of origin to determine the eligibility of the reduced tariff rates with any U.S. FTA partner. Next, please. Financing is an important aspect of exporting, and there are various alternatives involving credit, insurance, and trade finance tools to help U.S. companies against non-payment risks when trying to expand their export sales. Factors to consider for the analysis of payment terms should include, in Honduras, the type of business, nature of the relationship you have with the buyer, and country conditions in general. Common payment methods that we see include irrevocable letters of credit, some open accounts with established buyers, cash against documents, or cash in advance. So for finance solutions, we also encourage you to, when appropriate, to contact Exim Bank, which finances exports through various loans, guarantees, and insurance programs. Next. Some of the best practices, as Mike mentioned, please take a look at the country commercial guide available at expert.gov. It's very important in terms of market research or general market research for the local market. It's also best if you secure an agent, representative, or distributor when selling in Honduras. There are two regions, San Pedro Sula, which is considered a commercial and industrial capital, and Tegucigalpa, the capital city. And often one single distributor suffices for the entire territory. It's important for you to, when identifying partners, to conduct due diligence. There are several services, if you're familiar with Department of Commerce services like the Gold Key or International Company Profile. It's also important to be familiar with laws and regulations when needed to secure local attorneys or legal advice. Also adapting your products, translating, for example, to Spanish materials to Spanish, after-sales support, and testing the market. Participating in local events, trade missions, and exploratory visits, it's very, very important. And also, overall, be patient. For example, don't try to push for big orders at the start. Next.
Thank you. I believe now we're going to the general manager with PAGSA on his perspective on U.S. brands in the Honduras market.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. Before I start, I would really like to thank Carolina from the Auto Care Association and Rosana from the USA Commercial Service at the USA Embassy in Tegucigalpa, Honduras, for inviting me to speak in this webinar today. Both organizations are of a great contribution to our local alliance with USA companies today. As said before, my name is Juan Andoni. I live in the industrial capital of Honduras, San Pedro Sula. I am the current CEO of PACSA, Partes Automotrices Geo. It's a family-owned business created since 1989. I had a little preview on the vehicle, but I heard Rosana gave it to you. Anyhow, I'll repeat it a little bit and expand on it a little bit more just for you to understand our car park locally. Our vehicle park in Honduras is in constant growth, and this factor assures a rising market for the car care products as well as the aftermarket parts. Here's a preview of the local car park data in our country. As of December 2016, Honduras was importing 12,000 new vehicles from all over the world per year. This is a tendency since the past 3 years. We have all the main brands and everyone has a little share of the pie. Also, in 2016, Honduras also imported 30,000 used units of all brands directly from the United States. This is also a figure per year. So this gives you an idea of the growth that we have annually. As we heard earlier from our friend Rosana, there is a total park of 1.5 million vehicles in Honduras, of which 500,000 are motorcycles, 250,000 are semi and heavy duty trucks and buses, and the rest, 750,000 are passenger vehicles, light trucks, and SUVs. As I was telling, PACSA is the company that I represent. Main activity is the sales and distribution of aftermarket parts and auto care products in Honduras since 1989. We have 3 divisions, of which one of it is retail and direct sales of semi-heavy duty truck parts through 7 retail stores in the country. We also have a distribution of light vehicle parts and auto care products to retail stores around the country through a wholesale operation. Our company also is the importer of the Audi vehicles for the country, so we have a showroom in Honduras, in San Pedro Sula, and Tegucigalpa, 2 main cities in the country. That gives us a little bit of experience, a broad experience in the market for the past 20 years. We have been importing car care products and dealing with American companies and brands since 1992 with great success. Most of our brands have been contacted and negotiated at important trade shows such as Apex and SEMA in Las Vegas and other minor Central American trade shows in Central America. Dealing with American companies have a great deal of advantages that allow us to grow and secure our investment when purchasing American brands in all aspects. The commercial treaty, CAFTA, is the most important that makes us competitive when we import products from the United States. This is the best incentives allow us to import American products from USA free of taxes. Obviously, it makes it competitive. We also have shipping advantages. American products are easy and fast to ship to Honduras. Honduras port, Puerto Cortes, the main port, one of it. Then we have another. This is in the Atlantic, just to clear. Is 2 days away from USA ports such as Los Angeles, New York, Virginia, Houston, and mainly Miami, which is the shortest. All the important shipping companies sail daily from USA to Honduras. There are many shipping and freight companies in Miami with large warehousing facilities that allows us to consolidate and ship to Honduras constantly. Most American companies we work with would ship FOB Miami, which is our closest hub, and make it very feasible for us. There's also commercial advantages, which are great for us. The American companies, in difference with other countries, are known for their commercial reliability and for building good quality products. They are very reliable due to their maturity and experience in the worldwide market. This assures their understanding of long-term agreements of distribution. They respect long-term deals as in comparison to other countries that don't. By assuring distribution agreements, we can invest safely in our local operations and warehousing. Financially, we have access to very good credit terms that helps us financial growth. The American companies will deliver with excellent lead time. The American products have a very good brand recognition due to the USA TV networks seen locally. And once we get in good ongoing relationship, we can count on good marketing support, quality warranty, and good customer service. Just for the reference of some of you, the brands, our main brands imported from the United States are Fran filters, Autolite spark plugs, Prestone antifreeze, Novita flashers, Ideal clamps. From Federal Mogul, we also import Wagner lighting and brake fluids, Champion spark plugs and wiper blades, Payen seals, FP diesel truck parts, Precision and Moog joints, Carter gas pumps, TS suspension. We also bring Versachem silicons from Permatex, Mag 1 lubricants from Warren Distribution in Omaha, becoming one of our largest distributions at the moment, lubricants. We also carry Monroe struts, Peterson lighting, Cyclo Industries, Pylon wiper blades, Formula One car wax, Armor All, Omni Industries oil lubricants, and others. Our company is known in the market for selling good quality products made in USA, and many customers would prefer us for that. I would encourage everyone to grow in this direction. So I can certify, actually, that everything said today in this webinar is true. I just wanted to add to Mike's comments regarding the challenges. Many of those challenges used to be before today a little bit more worry to worry about. Today, we are growing and getting better in each one of those. I can really assure that there's a little bit better control of the fiscal balance. The customs are faster today. Product registration is no problem anymore. We have less cases of security going on, so we are more secure today than before. There's more transparency, and really the processes aren't that long. We're getting better at it every day. And our 2 years growth, past 2 years growth is giving us more confidence in growing and investing a little bit more. So I will encourage you again to grow in this direction by all means. Thank you again for this opportunity, and good day to everyone.
Mr. Andoni, thank you so much. That was really insightful, and so I think our participants are intrigued by the opportunities that Mike and Rosanna and you have presented. In the next part of this program, we want to talk a bit about what the Auto Care Association is doing to help make it easy for you, U.S. exporters, to grow into the market, right? How do you meet people like Mr. Antone? How do you start those business-to-business conversations? And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Carolina Aragoses, who is with the Auto Care Association.
Thank you, Kelly, very much. Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Carolina Aragoses with the International Affairs Office at the Auto Care Association. And now that we have discussed the automotive market in Honduras, probably you're wondering, as Kelly mentioned, how to start taking advantage of these business opportunities. So the first step that we are proposing today is for you to participate in a trade mission organized by the Auto Care Association and the U.S. Commercial Service. This program offers an excellent opportunity to enhance your exposure to the local market and get access to key industry contacts. During this trade mission, participants travel together as a U.S. Embassy-supported delegation, attend market briefings, and have the one-on-one business matchmaking appointments with pre-screened prospective customers and partners. Last year, as we mentioned at the beginning, we hosted 2 trade missions to Peru and Guatemala, and we will be hosting one more to Colombia during June. These trade missions have been very successful, and we want to continue helping companies exploring these new markets in Latin America and increasing their presence. So when are we going to Latin America? So we have confirmed the dates for a 2-stop trade mission to Central America. We're going to Honduras on September 26th and Nicaragua September 28th. What are the benefits of participating in this trade mission? First, you will get personalized one-on-one meetings, as we mentioned, through the U.S. Commercial Service, and that will meet your specific goals and objectives. You will have the U.S. Embassy country and industry briefing. You will have hotel accommodations, most meals, airport transfers, and local ground transportation. Also, on-site interpreters if you need it for the meetings. We will have also a permission webinar or a conference call to discuss all the details before the trip. And you will also have you're going to have the chance to have a conference call with the U.S. Embassy specialist to review your specific goals and objectives. For this time, this is the itinerary, the tentative itinerary. So as I mentioned, the idea is the delegation will arrive on Monday, September 25th, and then on Tuesday, September 26th, we will have in the morning an embassy and country industry briefing, then a full day of personalized business-to-business meetings, and at night we will have a group dinner. Then for companies interested in also taking the second stop to Nicaragua, those companies will be traveling to Managua, or they will back to the United States. For the companies going to Nicaragua on Thursday, September 28th, you will have pretty much the same schedule. In the morning, you will have an embassy and country and industry briefing, then a full day of personalized business-to-business meetings, and at night, the group dinner. Then on Friday night, participants will return to the United States. Okay, so as far as the trade mission costs, we have package costs that you can register for one country or both countries. You have price if you're a member, and if you're not a member of the Autocar Association, you can also register, and price for additional participants. So this is very important, and it's a great benefit for companies registering, since this trade mission is part of the award the association received from the Department of Commerce. Participants promoting U.S. products or products with U.S. content will receive $1,500 upfront offset for one country and a $3,000 offset upfront for both countries. So it means if you're an Autocar Association member and you're going for one country, you will be only paying $1,000 for everything I just mentioned. And if you are going to the two countries, Honduras and Nicaragua, you will be paying only $2,000. So as long as you're promoting these U.S. content products, you definitely qualify for this offset. If you want more information on how to become a member, please contact me. I will email you all the information. If you need more information on these content requirements, also please let me know, and I'll send you the information. So again, what is included in this trade mission package, you will have the business-to-business meetings with prospective customers and clients, the U.S. Embassy briefing. You will have breakfast, lunch, and dinner during the trade mission days, also hotel accommodations, local transportation from and to the airport, and all trade mission related events, and also an interpreter. What is not included in the package? The expenses for airfare and non-specified meals and incidentals. We receive your payment, the team will start working on your meetings. So please keep in mind that the deadline to register is July 31st. And please keep in mind that space is limited, so registration will end once we reach capacity. We definitely suggest if you're planning to attend, please submit your registration soon. Here we have some testimonials from past trade mission participants. Some of them already have reported successful sales, and some others are working on closing deals. So again, this is a great opportunity to get first-hand market information, save time, and of course, maximize your results. We also will be hosting a webinar on business opportunities in Nicaragua on May 18 at 3 p.m. Standard Time. So if you're also interested in this market, please visit our webpage. You can also register at the link that you find on the slide. But if you need more information on this webinar or do you have any question, please contact me. This is our contact information. So yes, that's the information we have today regarding the trade mission. Now I want to turn over to Kelly Holloway, again from the U.S. Commercial Service for the Q&A portion.
Yeah, thank you, Carolina. I think we have just a couple more minutes. A lot of content, so we've gone a little long, but I think it's all been really informative and useful. I want to invite any of the participants on the line to type in a question. You should have a chat feature on the GoToMeeting webinar platform. You can submit your questions there. You can ask questions broadly about the Honduras market, commercial market, specifically about the aftermarket sector. Any questions you'd like to direct to Juan while he's still on the line, or the mission itself. So please go ahead and submit your questions. One that did come in about the business-to-business matchmaking that's going on as part of the mission is how many meetings can a participant expect in that day-long program? Maybe Rosanna, you could talk about that.
Yes, typically one day of appointments is from 6 to 8 meetings.
So for that,
the company.
Sorry, I think I interrupted you.
Yes, depending on the company objectives, the meetings, the B2B appointments are from 6 to 8 meetings per day, in one day.
So again, these are 6 to 8 meetings with qualified, pre-screened targets, whether it's going to be end users, a lot of them probably distributors or dealers. Who do you need to talk with and meet with to expand your business in the market? And those contacts are vetted, interest is confirmed, and then you have a direct one-on-one private meeting with them as part of the mission package. A question came in from Mr. Andone, and they ask if you could address approximately the percentage of American application cars in the Honduras market, as well as for heavy trucks.
Yes, lately it's been growing due to the exodus of trucks coming from the United States. The used park is pretty large. Mostly in the heavy duty, we find International, we find Freightliner, Mack, and some other smaller brands, but mainly American. Number-wise, I wouldn't be able to tell you with exact numbers, but as you saw in the segment where the heavy-duty trucks are in Honduras, we have maybe 250,000 units among light, semi-heavy and heavy, which means that the park of large American brands would be like 120 to 150 approximately thousand.
Terrific, thank you. And I should let all the participants know that following this program, the recording will be posted on the Auto Care Association website, so you can review some of the content, and you'll also receive a copy of the presentation that was provided today. We are getting towards the end of the hour. I'm going to take one more question here, and that is there any interest in private labeled USA-made brands, or is it mostly well-known national brands? So what's the market there for private labeled US-made brands, if any? And maybe Rosana or Juan again could address that.
Oh yeah, this depends on the maturity of the company you're going to work with. Many companies are already looking for OEMs, and that's due to the expansion that many local companies are wanting to have in Central America to distribute their own brands instead of long time known brands in the market. There is a market for OEMs.
Thanks. Rosanna, did you want to add anything? Or Mike?
Hello? No, that should suffice regarding the market, what Juan mentioned.
Terrific. Well, and I want to remind all the participants that as part of your application and interest in the market, we will set up one-on-one consultations with Rosanna to explore the fit. So before you commit, just to make sure that they believe that there's opportunity for you and they can set up a very strong schedule. Through this partnership, with the award, the Commerce Department award to the Auto Care, and they're organizing the logistics, I just want to mention that it really is an outstanding cost-effective package. Commerce Department does missions all around the world, and typically the mission is more around the lines of $3,500, and that does not include hotel and food and transportation and all the other add-on benefits of this. So it's really cost effective, but in the end we want to make sure it is successful for you, and we'll advise you on whether or not we think it's a good fit. So we encourage you to apply for this mission. Watch for details coming in your email, and don't hesitate to contact any of us with any questions. So with that, I think I'm going to close and invite our host, Auto Care Association, to make the last comment.
Thank you very much, Kelly. Thank you very much, Juan, Mike, and Rosanna, and all the audience who took the time to attend this webinar. Please again contact us, any of us, with any questions regarding Honduras, regarding the market, or regarding this trade mission. We will be sending out the slide deck as well as the recording of the webinar to everyone. So please, we encourage you to participate in this trade mission and take advantage of the great opportunities in the Honduran market. Thank you very much, everyone.
Bye.
And have a good afternoon.
Bye.
Thank you.
Ok. Gracias a ustedes. Have a good day.